1983, an orca by the name of Tilikum was captured in Iceland as a baby, witnessing the murder of his mother and several of his family members. He was then taken into captivity, where he would later be responsible for 3 human casualties. According to PETA, the world's largest animal rights organization and the founders of the Sea World of Hurt campaign, SeaWorld does everything in their power to conceal the mental and physical abuse of their captive animals. You should all listen to this speech about the Sea World of Hurt campaign to gain further insight into the mistreatment of animals that we can so often overlook in the midst of entertainment. First, I will tell you about SeaWorld before the Hurt campaign, then I will tell you about why the Hurt campaign was created, and finally I will tell you about what the Hurt campaign has accomplished so far. Tilikum was originally brought to SeaWorld as a vital part of their breeding program. Shown here are Tilikum's descendants, the majority of which died before his death in 2017. Being that Tilikum was the only male in the tank, it was very known that the female tank mates would show extreme aggression toward him. In this, you see rake marks given him by other orcas' teeth. When orcas are brought from different pods into the same tank, they often don't know how to communicate with each other, and this can cause injuries and even death. Tilikum was known for his drilled teeth and collapsed dorsal fin. These are signs of extreme stress and declining health in captive orcas. Shown here is an orca in the wild. This is what the dorsal fin should look like. This is what Tilikum's dorsal fin looked like. Although the orcas at SeaWorld showed extreme aggression toward each other and their trainers, the same cannot be said for orcas in the wild. There is no recorded time of an orca injuring a human in the wild. Trainers at SeaWorld were known to use negative and positive feedback toward their orcas whenever they did something successfully or unsuccessfully. A positive example would be giving them more food, a negative example would be taking food away. The orcas at SeaWorld were known to react very aggressively toward their trainers when they got negative feedback and got food taken away from them. An example would be Ken Peters. He was in the middle of a performance when a female orca grabbed him and pulled him under. He lifted him above the water and took him under for over 10 minutes. Luckily, Ken was an experienced diver and he survived, but he was just about the only one who did. In 1991, Kelty Byrne was a trainer at Sealand of the Pacific, where Tilikum was before SeaWorld. She slipped and fell into Tilikum's tank, and she did not survive. The media was told that Kelty's death was a complete accident and that she fell in and drowned. This was not the case, and when Tilikum was transferred to SeaWorld, the trainers there were told that he had nothing to do with her death. That was also not true. In 1999, Daniel Dukes snuck into the SeaWorld enclosure, and his body was found the next morning in Tilikum's tank. In 2010, Don Brancho was the head trainer at SeaWorld. Due to negative feedback and pulling food from Tilikum, she was aggressively pulled into his tank by her arm. SeaWorld told the media that it was trainer error, but eyewitness accounts and the violence of her death proved otherwise. After Dawn's death, people signed petitions, and it was a really big thing to release Tilikum back into Icelandic waters, but the request was denied due to a bacterial infection that he acquired while in captivity. The denial of his release sparked a big controversy, which caused a documentary called Blackfish to be created. Blackfish slogan is "Never capture what you can't control." This documentary depicts the life of Tilikum, the deaths that he caused, and even has eyewitness accounts from former trainers of SeaWorld. Its purpose is to educate the public about what's really going on at SeaWorld and places like SeaWorld. Due to this documentary, SeaWorld's financial stability plummeted. Celebrities decided not to go on with performances there. They pulled out of sponsorships, and their attendance rate went down nearly 5% in the first 6 months of the release of this documentary. Of course, the backlash wasn't enough for animal rights, and it wasn't enough for organizations like PETA. PETA founded the Sea World of Hurt campaign to bring awareness to people, further awareness than the documentary did. Its purpose is to create petitions, stage protests, and even take legal action against SeaWorld and places like it for the mistreatment of the animals that they've caused. Its most recent accomplishment is ending dolphin surfing at SeaWorld. They filed a veterinary report which proved that this is very harmful to the dolphins, and they took that segment out of their dolphin shows. Tilikum's life, the deaths that he caused, and the media's scrutiny caused an overwhelming public reaction, which in turn furthered the public coming together to stop organizations like this and to prevent something like Tilikum's story from ever happening again. The capture of a baby orca in 1983, something as simple as that changed the way everyone looks at animal rights forever.
Focus it.